Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, I can't make it without you guys. I just can't make it without you guys. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this Friday morning. Man, it's the weekend already. I can't believe it. Things are going to be a little bit different for the following week. I will be in Puerto Rico. Me and Michael are going back to lead volunteers on helping to rebuild 8 different homes and stuff. It's our way of giving back and things and trying to look out for our fellow man. So one of the problems, of course, is it takes a long time to upload. So if you have subscribed to my other channel, Joe Boo's Day Job. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff on there because it literally will take hours to get stuff on there. But I'll try and keep then the other one set up so that way any news on the Cowboys, hopefully I can at least get it up to you guys sooner than later. So that's the way we'll try and work it. But we'll do the best we can, and I appreciate all the support, and we'll do what we can. We're going to try and live stream from one of the sports bars that are there in San Juan Monday night. But again, it just depends on if there's any cruise ships that are in. It just overwhelms the system, and you just can't get stuff out. So let's hope that the cruise ships have all left by 8 o'clock that night. So our team is back from the bye week. The only person who didn't wasn't able to practice is Cam Fleming right now. The Cowboys are as healthy as they've been, and we're going down these last 9 games of the season. And you want to finish up those 9 games strong and hopefully make the playoffs with some momentum. That's the hope. And I'm going to tell you that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be in better shape for a couple of reasons going in here. And I look for the team to actually play better. I may be crazy. Maybe I am. But here's the way I look at it. The Cowboys started out like gangbusters. No doubt. Of course, we ended up playing the Giants originally. We played Miami and the Washington Redskins. So, of course, you were playing inferior talent. And that was good because we had a lot of guys that really weren't in their peak. When you think about Demarcus Lawrence has not been Demarcus Lawrence since the last game. Let's be honest with you. That shoulder surgery and not having training camp, I think, affected him quite a bit, that he started out the blocks kind of slow. Against the Eagles, he was a one-man wrecking crew like you expected. He got his Snickers chain and everything else because he was hangry, and he feasted on some Carson Wentz. And I'm hoping, since he's opened his mouth and is talking about Daniel Jones saying, yeah, the Giants did good at drafting another Eli Manning, trying to throw shade at him, that I hope he backs it up with taking his behind to the ground multiple times, forcing him into a forced fumble or forcing him into a pick or two, because that's what we need to see. But I believe that from here on out, he is finally be able to get back into that group and get into that Pro Bowl player that we've seen the last 2 years. The first couple of games, you could see the Cowboys limited his snaps. He only played about 60% of them. And he just did not seem like he was in that football shape. But I believe that that time is coming. Now that we've had this bye week, you've gotten some time underneath your belt, you're going to see him starting to play better. Byron Jones. Byron Jones was one of the best cornerbacks in football the first 3 quarters of the season until he hurt his hip. He had that hip surgery. And again, this is another guy who wasn't able to have OTAs and all the offseason work like you would want him to. He ended up being training camp late, but really did not practice. And again, this is another guy that's getting his legs underneath of him. And you've looked at his play as being better as of late. Then we get to Zeke. You remember, Zeke did the OTAs, but he held out all of training camp. Zeke Elliott came in the week before the season started. Zeke's played well, don't get me wrong. But until the Eagle game, you didn't really see Zeke feasting like he usually has been feasting. And again, this is another guy that you look at now, should be hitting their stride. And in the end, it may end up being better that we did have these guys a little bit slow in the first part of the season that DeMarcus Lawrence was only playing 60% of the plays, because now you got 9 games that you can really start looking at. This is really the beginning of my season, that this hopefully will carry beyond those 9 games, and hopefully you make the playoffs and you're able to make noise, that you are still finishing strong. That's the hope right there. And we'll also put into this as well, you'll remember Amari Cooper, his body has been a wreck. He practiced the first week of training camp, but then the heel was a problem. They said it was very, very painful, that, he couldn't do anything. He did not work out all training camp. And he's had some other nagging injuries and things. Of course, he had the big bruise. We were told he wasn't going to play against the Eagles. Somehow, some way, he got out on that field and played. And for the first time this season, he was listed as a full participant in practice. So now you're talking about 4 guys. I want you to think about this, because they don't tell you this on the shows. They'll just tell you that it's Dak Prescott. It's just the quarterback. It drives me crazy because as a college quarterback that they were talking about, who played against, Pat Mahomes, Dak Prescott. And they listed, I can't remember the quarterback, but they listed as such and such versus Pat Mahomes, such and such versus Dak Prescott, such and such. But it's like, wait a minute. That is the problem that we have, is this narrative. This guy didn't play Pat Mahomes. He played Pat Mahomes' team. Because they listed it, he had 4 touchdown passes, but yeah, against the defense that their college team had. It wasn't against Dak Prescott per se. It was against the whole team. But be that as it may. You're talking about 4 guys that were key components to this team. 4 guys: DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Jones, Zeke Elliott, and Amari Cooper. All 4 of those guys didn't have a training camp, really. 4 of your major pieces, offense and defense. And they were slow to begin the season. Finally, now, they're hitting their stride. If you don't think that that's not going to make a difference for this team, you are sadly mistaken, because that is going to be a big uplift. You can see the difference of Zeke Elliott being able to feast and run the ball effectively against the Eagles. You could see what DeMarcus Lawrence putting pressure on the quarterback and forcing a fumble and getting the turnover for the offense does. You can see when Byron Jones can cover people and be a shutdown corner, how it means less options for the opposing team's quarterback. You can see the difference of having Amari Cooper on the field able to run routes versus not against the Jets. So all of these things are going to be an added uplift for the Dallas Cowboys. At least that's my thought. Now, so last night I had did a little Giants preview with Bad Dog from just a New York Giants YouTuber. He's having a hard time because it's hard to be out there yelling and screaming about your team going to beat everybody every week when you know your team is garbage. And he's accepted. He's realistic. He understands it. And that's not to say that the Giants can't get a win, because we've seen the Dallas Cowboys get 1 victory over a Washington Redskin team that was going to the playoffs, and that was their 1 win, and that wasn't with Troy Aikman even. So you can take all of the records and all that stuff and throw it out the window, because it's going to be a dogfight. We lost to the frickin' Jets. If we do not show up ready to play, you can get your ass handed to you. And if you don't think that the New York Giants, knowing that their season sucks, knowing that they're not going to go anywhere, if you don't think that they look at this as their Super Bowl, that if they can beat the Dallas Cowboys, they will be the toast of the town, then you're sadly mistaken. But I got to take umbrage, I think that's the right word, to something that Bad Dog said. And last night there was tornado warnings and thinking about going this trip in Puerto Rico and stuff, and it kind of slipped by me. Bad Dog, you said, my quarterback is like a poor man's version of Alex Smith. And I actually have to thank you for that because it pissed me off as I was walking the dog this morning and I realized I was like, what the hell? Like, you got to be kidding me. Because I'm sitting here thinking, Alex Smith, he was a good quarterback. Unfortunately, he went to Washington where quarterbacks go to die, literally. They kill every quarterback. You can go through, it doesn't matter who you were before you went to Washington. You're going to get screwed up when you get there. But I was going through, I said, wait a minute. Because by definition, a poor man's version, actually, let me make sure let me pull it up exactly. Definition of a poor man's, used to refer to someone, such as a performer, who is like another person in some ways but not as talented or successful. For example, a young actor who's said to be a poor man's James Dean. This is, unfortunately, the narrative that you get from a lot of people, and I think it's a misconception. Because when I hear this, it's like, how do you compare that? Because when you go through Alex Smith's numbers, they're pedestrian at best. I mean, the best season he had under Kansas City and Andy Reid, who is a quarterback whisperer, his best season was 4,000 yards and 26 TDs. That's his best one. Other than that, he only had one other season that was 3,500 yards. He had 2 seasons in his whole career, 3 seasons his whole career where he had 20 TDs or more. 26, 20, and 23. And if you take his first 4 years, here's what you got your first 4 years. 875 yards, 1 TD, 11 interceptions. His second year, 2,890 yards, 16 TDs, 16 interceptions. His third year, 2 TDs, 914 yards, 4 interceptions. His fourth season, like Dak Prescott is right now, he missed it. Shoulder injury. But we'll take his fifth season, in fact. This was the first year that he kind of turned it around a little bit because he had 2,350 yards, 18 TDs, and 12 interceptions. And I won't even put in there that he can't run. So bad dog. Seriously. I'm not saying that. I can see if you said that Dak Prescott maybe is a poor man's version of Aaron Rodgers or something like that. But Alex Smith, I mean, you're talking about Dak Prescott's career average and completion percentage is higher than Alex Smith had any one season. And that's after 2017 where we said he regressed. Yardage-wise, every year right now is better except for 1 year. So come on, man. Let's do a little bit better on my quarterback than that. And this is the narrative that you seem to get from all these people. Because, you know, and I'm going to finish this section off here. I'm going to be a little long-winded today with this. Because here's the thing that happens with Cowboy fans. You know, I love my people. But some of you guys are literally roller coaster ride fans. When the Cowboys win, man, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're great and everything else. When we lose, we're the worst team in history. We suck. Blow it up. Get rid of these bums, man. And it's just kind of like we're not that good, top of the roller coaster, and we're not that bad. We're in here somewhere. But you need to calm your roll. But here's a funny thing, because this is what was said a couple weeks ago.
Why isn't Dak's deal done yet?
You don't know that answer?
He's still adding commas to that damn number. He like, oh, y'all done messed up now. Woo! Dak is in a beautiful position. His floor is Carson Wentz. If I have a horrible year, I'm making 32 and a half with Carson Wentz. Trust me. And if I ball out, Russell Wilson, who? Russell Wilson down there doing what? I am the highest paid by a wide margin. I tell you why. One, everyone out there saying, but what if he gets hurt? Dude already had that Lloyd's of London insurance policy, baby. I'm going to get that money regardless. If I go out there and put up what I've been doing right now, it's going to turn into something that we've never seen before. It's worth the roll of the dice for Dak Prescott. And I will give you some numbers for those who still don't believe me, because not only am I Dak's agent, my name is Todd France. And right now, look at these numbers in which Dak Prescott is sandwiched between all time, because he just qualified now. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees, all-time NFL highest career passing ratings. Hello. Do you understand what 40 million looks like? Dak does, and that's why Dak is playing this out. It's not slowed down. It's just like, I'm going to wait and get what's deserved, and it's coming, 40 mil.
Okay.
Listen, why is he not?
All right, so now let's listen to this. Now here.
Now that you haven't kept winning,
exactly.
Yeah. Now
I would have respected that a lot more.
But you suck right now. We don't want to give you the money that you wanted, and let's go
knows
from there.
damn well what they're saying. And again, they're not going to put this dude in the position that Carson Wentz is in. I give the Cowboys credit. The position Jared Goff's been. Why overpay for these guys that aren't really driving the victories? Carson Wentz is getting eaten up in Philadelphia. Dak, we're not going to do that to you. We're not going to pay you all this money and have all your teammates looking side-eyed at you. The Cowboys are so damn desperate. They got allegedly one of the most talented rosters in the league, and here in the last hour, they were desperately trying to get Jamal Adams because this dude ain't good enough to win by himself, and they're honestly saying, look, hey, man, we want you at a price so that we can put all
One thing you can't do in Dallas,
better coaching.
Dallas, you can't tug back at those heartstrings. Jerry has a huge heart, player friendly. If I'm Dak, I find my Marshall Faulk like Ezekiel did. I find my guy who's going to take those shots for you, because right now this approach is just prolonging the situation and making Dak look a little worse. They're going to make him framed as greedy.
Okay, so this is actually hilarious, because see, this is what's known as talking out of both sides of your neck, because literally Marcellus was saying, hey, it don't matter if he were, he's going to get there and stuff. Now it's like, oh, now you look like a bad guy. And this is where you realize that the bottom line is, when it's a slow day, you go to your old favorite, which is, let's dump on Dak. Because let's think about where we are with some of the things they say. The Cowboys were so desperate that they were trying to get Jamal Adams at the last minute because Dak was not performing. I thought Jamal Adams played on defense, because isn't it your defense that's kind of behind the offense? Am I wrong? Or is he going to be playing offense? And when you talk about teams that are desperate, let's go back to, as you say, the Cowboys are one of the most talented rosters in football. Didn't they say that the Eagles were more talented and that Carson Wentz was a better quarterback and could put people on his back and will the team to win? Isn't that what they said? Am I wrong on that? The guy who is 9-10 over the last 2 seasons when he hasn't been hurt? In case you hadn't noticed, they've been looking around trying to get a lot of guys on the Eagles team. From Jalen Ramsey, they've talked about AB. Now there's rumors that they're thinking about hoping that Josh Gordon falls far enough to him after waivers. The Eagles have been doing the exact same thing, but yet somehow, some way, we don't hear about this on a daily basis. Jabba, I'm calling you out. I'm Mark Holmes, and man, today's my last full day here. And then it's off to Puerto Rico. I'll see you guys later today.